Easy team. As you can see, this one isn't dug out and it isn't bridge. We're back in Kev's. So Tuesday gone, I was in here. Okay. So I'll just rewind the tape. So Tuesday evening, I fucking flew flat out down the A421, did I, in the van. Got through the gate and it became apparent, sort of rather quickly, that there was someone in bridge and also someone in dugout. The two swims that I've been like concentrating on for the last sort of 2 or 3 months. So to say I was disappointed would be putting it bluntly, right? I was a bit, fuck it, whatever. But anyway, I've been popping a little bit in here, right? Because this one's been barren. No one's been in here for fucking months on end, really. Not that I've seen, right? And so I've just been popping a little bit in on the way home, sort of now and again, you know. And that would happen the weekend previously. I'd put a little bit in. So I thought, fuck it, we'll jump in here. So I jumped in here. It was at this time of year, I've got half an hour to get the fucking rods out. It's absolutely nonsense. I'd rather just the clocks go back or forward or whatever they do, so it's dark. Because at the minute I'm rushing to get the rods out while it's light. If it's dark when I leave, it's dark. There's no rushing. The rushing's gone. There's no rushing after work or anything like that anymore because it's dark, isn't it? And yeah, but at the minute it's all a big rush because it is nice to get the rods out where you can see, isn't it? But so anyway, the first one come out my bag. I put it over towards there's a little sort of tree sticking out over there with some dying pads. That one went out over there. Brand new rig, brand new pop up. The middle rod, when I put my rods back in my bag, I always put them in the bag how they was on my pod. So I know that rod there was my left hand rod. The middle rod, so to speak, in the bag was the middle rod. And I know, for instance, if I've had a fish on the middle rod, I've had a fish on that rod last week, and the chances are the hook's going to be spent, and vice versa. Okay, because obviously if I get a fish in the morning, I don't normally put the rod back out; it just gets put back in the bag in the morning. So anyway, the middle rod I hadn't had a fish on. Right, I've got a confession to make, lads and lasses. This is the confession, right? So I pulls the middle rod out of me fucking rod bag. I checks the fucking hook on it. Still mint, yeah, that's pucker. I don't need to fucking touch that. I was just about to change the bait because it still had the old bait on, the old Techni Spice on it, and I'll give it a little whiff as you do. And I thought, fucking hell, that's still pungent. That is. I mean, what's it been out? 10 hours, 12 hours? I was like, fuck it, waste not, want not. I fucking left the old bait on, right? Left the old fucking bait on that had been in my bag for fucking 3 or 4 nights, something like that. Pops it in the fucking boat, put 20 fucking boilies round it, dribbled it out to fucking the middle spot, dropped it, and then what I do is I thunder 2 or 3 catapults at the boat. Yeah. And really good in the dark. Because if you're a knock, 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 you know they've hit the boat, you know they've landed it in the right place. And then the left hand rod, no bait on it, new bait, new rig. That went to the left hand spot, which is by another sort of like tree that's sticking out. So all the rods are out, 2 or 3 catapults around them. By this time, it's like now, it's fucking dark, isn't it? So I've set my bed up and my bivvy, and I think the England game was on. Yeah, something like that. So I waited about a bit, put the England game on. That's pretty boring, as England are, aren't they? Fucking well boring. And it must have been about 11:30, half past 11, something like that. I fell asleep. Okay, I turned everything off and just thought, right, let's go kip. Not a fucking bleep on these rods, right? All evening, nothing. Okay, so there's nothing really to be optimistic about or anything like that. I was just like, whatever, I'm going to bed. Fuck me, 12:05. Beep 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 beep. Fucking middle rod is absolutely tearing a new one, right? I jumps out, grabs hold of it. And bearing in mind it's only 40 yards out, something like that. It took 20 or 30 fucking yards off me, this fish, and I was like, this one's a fucking good one. Anyway, after a spirited battle, we got him in the net, and I got him on video, so I'm going to let you see this. So not a bleep from the rods since I put them out. Not one bleep. An absolute melter at midnight. It's just wipe you down a bit. Ooh, how about that one? Pucker, proper girthy fish. Upper 20, something like that. I'd imagine. I'll have to wham in a little bit. Happy days. These fucking mics are fucking shit, aren't they? They really are. I think you can hear me better just without it. So it's not exactly noisy tonight. It's not windy or raining. It was a bit moist on Tuesday, it must be said. It was one of those misty nights. Not a lot of wind, but they were jumping down to the right, and they have done tonight. But there's a little bay just down to my right. You can't get it from here because there's a load of snags just to the right that hang out quite far. And I know if you get a run, they're going to tear into the bank, and it's going to give you a bit of jib. So I just fished the back. I know they're not far away, and a bit like bridge, you know, just dribble it out nice and quietly, let them carry on their fucking business over there, not dropping any boats or anything on their heads. And then overnight they might just have a little wander about, you know, and again you sort of fish for them without knowing you're fishing. And sort of similar scenario tonight. They're jumping down there, but there's not as much cloud cover tonight, and it's not as moist, but it's quite mild. It's quite pleasant. It's not too bad tonight. So anyway, we had the fish. I was absolutely beaming, right? And I'll tell you what, by the time I'd sort of sorted my life out, downloaded me photos to my phone, and you know, had a good old look at them and that, it was about 1 o'clock by the time I'd finished arsing about. You think I could get to sleep? I literally stayed awake all night until I had to pack up at 6 o'clock, ready to get going, sort of 6:30, 7:15 to get home. It was a mission, right? But catching a fish sort of made up for it, you know. And on the way out, I sort of drove out and give them the fucking flip to them too. Fuck off, gutted, as you do. And I know you all do it, don't you? Fuck off. And so anyway, before I left on Wednesday morning, I funded a load of bait across the back of here. Not too much, but rather than localise it where I've been fishing my spots, I sort of just spread it across the back to try and sort of, so it takes them longer to find, keeps them in the area longer, rather than sort of like thumping a load in one spot. They can come in, polish it off in an hour and a half or so, and fucking see you later. So I've just peppered the back with boilies, you know. I mean, it was a little while ago. I would imagine that's gone now, but what it does is it might just keep a couple interested in the area. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, there's 3 rods out now with 2 or 3 catapults over the top, probably about 30, 40 baits over each rig, something like that, including the ones that are in the boat. So not a great deal, but enough to entice a bite. But so yeah, I fucking cut my finger. This bed, right, is a Nash, what is it? It's an SS3 sleep system thing. I've had it, well, I had to buy a new one because the old one was nicked. But underneath where the leg, one of these legs is welded, there's a fucking spiky fucking weld hanging out. It's proper fucking nasty. And every sort of 6 months, something like that, it fucking bites my finger. I forget about it. I keep meaning to find it when I'm at home and just get the grinder and just take the edge off, but I forget. It's out of sight, out of mind. And it fucking bit me again tonight, and I'm fucking sore. Sort of rips the fuck out your fucking finger. Took about 10 minutes for it to stop fucking bleeding. Let's clear it all over my fucking hand. Fucking blood loss, innit? See what I can get out of it. But yeah, it's a bit fucking naughty, that. I should fucking check them. But that's bit me about fucking 4 or 5 times now, that fucking spiky weld. It's fucking well sore. But anyway, so we're fishing. What's there? There's 2 people. There's one in 3 pads, one in Rich's, and there was someone packing up in dugout when I come. He's not there no more. I went back to the van to get the bed, and he'd done the off, so So there's 3 of us left, I think. But the rods have been beeping. They've been beeping away since I put them out tonight, and I hadn't been the other night. So you never know. There might be a few more fish in the area. Be nice to have another one. It'd be fucking blinding. Fucking blinding. But, so yeah, today I've done some work on the van, right? So you're familiar with the van. If you don't, you must know the van. Right? So at the back of it, I'd got my storage rack, my pop-ups and stuff. And it was a bit like a spice rack, but with boilies in it and some other shelves and stuff. And I'll be driving down the road and they'd be fucking rattling about. I could hear rattly pop-ups behind me here, and it's doing my fucking head in. Plus I've got sort of an amount of buckets kicking about that I was always falling over. So I had some time this morning. So I decided to rip the van apart and make a new rack in the van. I'll show you. I'll turn you around and I'll show you. Right. So what I've done, let me just fucking pop the light on, haven't I? There we go. So this is what I've done. I ripped it out and I built this rack. 2 Ridge Monkey buckets. That one's a boilie crusher and that one's a particle crusher. This one goes like finer. You can obviously put boilies through it, but you end up with like a really fine crumb. And obviously the boilie crusher is just like bits of boilie. And then I can fit, 8 buckets in there, three, and I can fit 2 in there. I can't get the other one because of the van up there, but I can get 8 buckets in that one and some other bits. And then the spice rack I've moved to there. I've done away with a few, but yeah, well chuffed with that. It's much better. So yeah, that's what I've been doing this morning. Well, boy, how you doing? It's fucking dark now, guys. Look at it. Fucking pitch black. So that's it. That's us about caught up. So we've got 3 fresh ones on tonight. Fresh baits. Fresh hooks and fresh baits on tonight. But I was actually supposed to say that it was the middle rod, the second-hand bait that went. It was like, yeah. So we're into second-hand baits now. And I've been keeping them and putting them back in the fucking pot, right? There's 10 of those Tetany Spices because they're discontinued now. I've put them back in the pot. They've sort of dried out a bit. And when you smell them, they smell exactly the fucking same. So, bit of over them. Job's a good one. But anyway, we are fishing. The crocs and the head torches at the ready. Guess we'll have to see if anything unfolds. Morning, team. As you can see, I've packed up now. I've got about an hour left. It's about 20 past 7. I ain't got to go till about 20 past 8. Something like that. So if I'll get the chore done and just mill about for an hour. Save rushing about later. Yeah, quiet night for me, unfortunately. I did have one drop back on the left-hand rod. It's got a vicious one. It dropped back about 4 or 5 inches, so it could have been a pickup. One got away with it. It could have been a bream. It could have been anything, couldn't it? Who knows? But that was the only significant happening of last night. The rest of the night was dead calm. They stopped jumping at a couple of hours into dark, and the liners, I was getting some liners. They stopped around the same time, and it's just been dead still since. But there's been no wind. A little bit of cloud come over this morning, but now quiet night for me, really. Very quiet. Since light, I've had one little lift on the middle rod. It just bob, 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 bob. That's it. 2 events to fucking report. So yeah. Never mind. Can't win them all, can you? I mean, it's a blank. I ain't had a blank for a while. It's normally the other way around, isn't it? But now of late, you know, I think it's my first blank in 7 or 8 sessions, something like that. So I can't really grumble, you know. been lucky, so my luck's finally ran out. Unless it busts off in an hour, which I very much doubt, but you never know. So yeah, I'm just milling about really. I was going to go through some, should we do that? Go through some boilie chopping tools or something like that. Just to make the blog a little bit more interesting. Yeah, fuck it, I'll get them out. Let's do something. Right then team, what I have in front of me is an array of boilie cutting and chopping tools, okay? So in this mass market, everyone's going to plumb into here that you need to crumb, chop, marinade and spice up your boilies. And these are some of the tools you're going to need if you don't want to use your thumb and forefinger, all right? So first up, we've got the humble crusher. You've all seen one of these. These come in a couple of free sizes like that. The only way I can explain it, okay, is that they resemble a weed grinder, right? It's exactly the same. So you pop a few boilies in here. Don't ram it to the brim because you're going to need arms like Popeye to twist it, all right? But just, you know, half a dozen, 8 boilies in there, give it a twist, and you end up with your crumb. Bang it on your bucket, make loads of fucking noise so all the carp can fucking hear you. Get for about half a kilo in about half an hour, right? If you don't want crumb, okay, and you fancy some chops, you can either use a little pair of scissors or a knife, and that's going to take you a little while, or you can use one of these little gadgets. Now this little gadget is called a chopper. They come in different sizes. I've got a 16 and a 20. Very simple to use. All you do is you pull the top off, okay? You pop your little boilies in them, like so. You can get quite a few boilies in there. I mean, I ain't counted, but... And then what you do, you don't put it in that end, you put it in that end. You pop your boilies in that end, right? I'll put a few in, okay? Like so. You probably get about, well, I'll tell you, 24 boilies in there, 24 16s, and then you pop it in the chopper, okay? And obviously you just press it. And then what you end up with are chops. That's a really easy way to chop boilies in half of one of those. Don't marinate them though, right? When you put them in a chopper, because they get stuck in it. That's what I've found. So always do them dry. And also you want to use a softish bait, okay? You go in with, you know, a hard type bait with one of these. You're either going to break this or you're going to break your arm, one of the two. So yeah, 16s, obviously you can put sort of 14s to 16s in them. Obviously the chop's just going to be a little off centre. And with the 20s, obviously sort of 18 to 20s you're going to get away with. So that's pretty much the 2 choppers. Next up, when you want to fucking ramp up things and you want to get a bit of bait done quite quickly, you've got the Ridge Monkey choppers now. These come in two different types, okay? So this one is the boilie chopper. Let me just pull him off. So, basically you've got a cutter in there with some different little bits and pieces with a gap, okay? You load your boilies in there, turn the handle, and I'm not going to do it, okay? I don't want any chop boilies at the minute, but you get the idea, right? Don't put your fingers in it, whatever you do. But yeah, you pop your boilies in there, and it chops them up into like inconsistent pieces, okay? And what I do, I don't bother with the handle, guys. I stick my keeter on there. 5 minutes, bucket full, job done. If you're going to use a drill for this, you need a 13mm chuck, guys. A 10mm chuck ain't going to fit that. So that's the boilie chopper. Now, this one, okay, I bet you're thinking, why has he got 2? This one looks the same in every way until you delve into things, right? So this one, if you look, the bottom's slightly different. So you can swap out these bottoms by undoing these 6 screws. This one is a particle chopper. I don't use that particle that much, but what I found it does, you can just see the remnants of it in the chopper. If you use boilies in this particle chopper, it will chop them down to like a really, really fine crumb, like you would in a quarter crusher. So if you want literally a bucket full of crumb, and it literally is fine crumb, then use a particle chopper. If you want bits and pieces and inconsistent bits, boilie chopper. Chops, use the chopper. A bit of a spliff later, the crusher. And that's pretty much, well, that's the kit I use when I want to chop baits up and what have you, just to make my life a little bit easier. Right, and team, that's me. I've packed up, the rods are on the floor, I've just got to pop them in my bag. I was doing a little bit of a vid, but the governor run into the swim, and so I've to cut it short. We had a little chin wag and whatever. I don't think much has been out. He's walked around the others, and it don't look like much has been out. So anyway, since this morning, there's been a few fish still jumping in that little bay just to my right hand side. And what I done this morning is I tried to move them out of the bay by throwing boilies on them. So what I've done is I catapulted boilies over this tree and landed them in the bay like cluster bombs, about half a dozen catapults. And what that does, obviously, it lands on them and it moves them off. So a mate of mine told me about that years ago. Obviously, it depends on the lake and the shape of the lake you're fishing. But I used to do it in this swim, Kev's, because I used to fish this an awful lot back in the day. I love this swim. And because it's obviously a narrow and long part of the lake, so I'd run in, sort of set up at a sort of just gone dark or whatever, and then sort of by 10 o'clock it'd become apparent that there's a number of fish jumping in snug. Okay, now rather than moving into snug, what I used to do is I used to run round there with my bag of boilies and a catapult, and I used to thump them into the air, and I used to land the boilies in the snug on top of these fish, or where I think the fish were, and it used to just shake them up a bit, and it makes them move out of the area. Well, the only area they can move is in front of me, because they're not going to run into toilet, into no water. And quite often I'd do that and sort of have a run that night, and I think it's because you've moved the fish off. If I hadn't have done that, the fish probably would have stayed there all night. So it's something worth thinking about. You know, obviously don't do it if there's people fishing and, you know, you're going to land boilies in people's swims and that. But in the winter, I'm only a person here, so I can pretty much do what I want. And no, it's a good way of moving fish off. I don't know whether you know, say you're fishing 3 rods, one here, one here, and one here, and you recast one rod. Say you pull this rod in, you recast it, put it on the money, and then, like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes later, you get a run on your middle rod. Okay, it could have been you've moved the fish off that rod, or the disturbance you've done putting that right hand rod out is just shaking the carp up a little bit, and if they've moved to the left and your middle rod's there in waiting. I mean, it's all speculation and who knows, but but it is something I do if I'm doing a little period and, you know, I don't want to move, I ain't got long left. It's just another way of sort of forcing something to happen. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, but obviously don't go and put a load of bait in if you're going to spend a period in your swim, because obviously you're baiting a fucking swim up. But if you're there for a few hours, it's a good way of moving fish off. So anyway, that's about me for this session. I'm about to shoot the hoop and dart home. So I ain't going to bother doing any blogs now until I go to Trent. It's just going to be too repetitive, and to be quite honest, a bit boring at night, and it's recording at night, it's like boring, just bound to the bivvy and what have you. So I think I'm going to leave it now till I go to Trent in 2 or 3 weeks time. I've got a week there, so we should be able to get up to some things interesting, and hopefully we'll catch a few fish and it'll be a really good blog. So I'm looking forward to that. And I might do a live one time. I mean, I've never done that before, but I don't know, shake things up a bit. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Always a joy to catch up. I'm going to get this stuff packed up now, and I'll most probably see you at Trent. So see you later, guys.